Okay, Revolution Radio, here we go. It is Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is time for the Quantum Leap Show. Let light unite with our goddess spiritual warrior, Cathy Bilsky.
And this is the last quarter of the year. This is September the 1st, 2015, and Revolution Radio. Tonight, I'm going to do just some sharing with you and give you some knowledge. And we're going to talk about, do you really know what your marriage license is about? You know, how many of you out there are married? Have been married, got divorced? How many of you are going to get married? Well, I was really shocked when I found out some stuff about the marriage licenses, and I'm going to share with you. And I'm going to talk a little bit about birth certificates and what's reality behind them. And just for giggles, I'm going to share with you the Jesuit oath and what they take when they become a Jesuit. First, I want to ask you guys, do you know anything about government manufactured crimes? Well, that's, 3 words that are short, simple, to the point, huh? And you're probably thinking, oh, God, of course, government manufactured crimes. Well, you need to pay attention, because if we don't speak out against this, they're just going to keep getting away with this crap. But do you know that 95% of the Muslim crimes and the Muslims that are in jail were FBI government manufactured? Yeah, the FBI came in, found these people that they thought would create a crime, approach them, offer them money, give them ideas, and sometimes the equipment to do, quote unquote, the terrorist work, and then bust them on it and put them in prison. I mean, what can I say? They do this a lot. This is not acceptable behavior. And that's called government manufactured crimes. In other words, some people call it a setup. And again, if y'all don't start talking about this, it's going to keep going on, and let's cancel clear it. So before I get into all this really warm, yum, fuzzy stuff that I know you're really going to love, enjoy hearing, let's just do a little bit of energy work and just to lighten up everything a little bit. And if we have time, sometime during the show, I will slip in the energy balancing curse removal. So if everyone is going to participate, and if you've done energy work before, then sit yourself down, put your feet flat on the floor, and put your spine straight up so you're reconnected with the Creator. And imagine this golden cord going up from the top of your head, connecting with the Creator, and this just high energy, this healing energy just comes pouring into the top of your head and just pours into your body, flows down your arms, and imagine it flowing out your hands. And we're going to create this bubble of light and put in this energy work. And I'm going to ask that anybody who participates and anybody who hears this work, that this energy is amplified 100,000-fold. So in this bubble of light, we're going to put all the pyramids on the planet and all the sacred spots, all the obelisks, the domes, the ley lines, the obelisks, all the sacred spots on the planet in this bubble. And we're going to imagine this incredible golden solar energy coming down and just covering all the pyramids, the grids, the ley lines, the domes, the obelisks, and all the sacred spots on the planet, and allowing us to be in sync with the heavens once more. And imagine as we reconnect to the Creator, we're waking up all the inhabitants of this beautiful planet. Let us send this golden solar energy right to all the grid and dragon ley lines that go into the heart of the Mother Earth, regenerating the Earth as well as letting her recalibrate to the divine heaven manifesting on Earth, energy with gentle, kind movements. Let us envision all elementals of war being put in a position of harmlessness, forever breaking down. As we leap into a divine golden age beyond the first golden age, imagine a divine golden age of healing, joy, functional families living in complete harmony and peace. We see anything nuclear being closed down, and any person who wants to take nuclear forward is removed from office, being replaced with a sane, enlightened being who will push ahead renewable energy supplies now. See all reptilian politicians being removed from all offices they hold now, replaced with a loving, kind, awakened spiritual being. As the golden solar energy flows through all the sacred places on Earth, all life forms feel it and begin to have a gentle awakening as they reconnect to the Creator, becoming awakened spiritual beings filled with joy and purpose. See heaven on earth being created in physical form. We ask that this high divine energy is integrated in a gentle, kind, loving way with everyone's cells, atoms, molecules, going all the way down into the DNA and soul memory. See heaven on earth being created now. So be it. Fill this bubble of light up with lots of love and take a deep breath. And let's release it into the universe. Now, before I get into the radiation level this week, and you all can crawl under your chairs and shiver and all that ucky stuff, you know, the name of my program is called Quantum Leaping the World into Divine Enlightenment. Let light unite. And I'm on radio because it's my belief that it's our right to quantum leap the planet into the golden age. It's prophecy. We have 25,000 years of enlightenment ahead of us, of peace, love, compassion, no nuclear, no fighting, no wars. That's our destiny. And unless you talk about it, you know, really, guys, what's your alternative? Huh? Yeah, the alternative is Armageddon. And that's where they want to push us in. And who is they? The 1%, the people that do satanic work, that want one world order, that want to control everything. I don't know about you all, but that doesn't work well for me, and I don't do slave well. So to me, quantum leaping the world into divine enlightenment is so important. Helping people reconnect to the Creator is important. Because when you are reconnected to the Creator and an awakened spiritual being, you know better. You know better than to hurt or harm or to make somebody unhappy. You have compassion. You do the right thing. You are the hero. You don't have to wait for heroes to appear. You become it. You do the right thing. Always. Or to the best of your ability. You know, we can't be perfect all the time. But when you're a conscious, awakened spiritual being, you know better. And you want to be kind and loving because you're full of compassion. So when I say quantum leaping the world into divine enlightenment, you know, and if I was going to describe the enlightenment movement into 3 words, I would use family, earth in abundance. Now, what does that mean? Family. Well, caring about each other, cooperation, giving others an uplifting hand. Enlightenment. Earth. We're thriving in a transformed, clean, pristine earth. You know better when you're enlightened not to screw up the planet, because this is where you live. You don't foul the water up. You don't put chemicals in the sky. You don't fluoridate your water. You don't grow GMO food. You don't do any of that, because that's harmful. And enlightenment, when you are an awakened spiritual being, you want to clean the earth. You want to help her. And simply by sending her love, and creating gardens. How easy is that? And to me, enlightenment means there's abundance everywhere. No one lacks for anything. People that have it, share it. They don't hoard it. And they share with those who are in need. So what would you rather choose? Would you rather choose Armageddon, oh gag me, or enlightenment, where we quantum leap everybody into enlightenment? And how can you help do that? Well, send the energy of love out. Don't react to people's anger. Send love. Look at things from a different viewpoint. Don't take things personally. Understand that we're under attack from all levels all over. And if usually your family is harmonious and all of a sudden you're fighting like cats and dogs, you could be being beamed a frequency that is causing that. And, you got to be more conscious than you ever have before, because somebody's got to come up and bring the family together and sit down and go, look, guys, you got to stop the fighting. Somebody is shooting frequencies at us and you're reacting to it. And when you react and you fight, now you are giving energy to the demons and everything rotten out there. Which again, I know it doesn't work for you and it doesn't work for me. So just a thought, reconnect with that energy of love and work with it. The only way you're going to know how it works is use it. And, if you got a family member that's angry, imagine them wrapped in this bubble of love. And then from the very core of your being, send them that love energy, that love vibration. And if you really want to stay connected in that thought, then in your mind go love, 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 love. And watch what happens. In 2 minutes, they shift. Now, 2 things can happen. A, they're going to become friends and laugh at themselves for being so crazy. Or B, they're going to leave the room. And, either way, you don't lose, huh? But working with that energy of love, you are sending them that energy that they lack and helping them reconnect to the Creator. And that is not a bad thing. Harmony is not a bad thing. Peace and quiet and calm is not a bad thing. So some good news is that the CERN broke down, that collider project where they're trying to be God in Switzerland. Well, it broke down again. I guess it overheated. And to all of you guys that are doing that CERN prayer and working with that energy, I clap. Yay, you are awesome, and it is working. So nice job. All right, let's get into your radiation level for the week. And Bob Nichols puts this together. So what we're going to do, as I said before in the other weeks, that normal radiation level is 5 to 20 CPMs. Anything above 20 is not good, okay? Remember that. So we are going to start at the highest and go to the lowest. And once again, we're starting off at Billings, Montana. They have 937 CPMs. Remember what I said, anything over 20 isn't good. So here we are at 900. All right, Bakersfield, California, 855. And not all of these readings are accurate. They're going to be lower because whoever does these reports may not give the total report and will leave out a gamma ray or a beta report. So whatever I'm giving you, know that this number is higher than I'm actually giving you. All right, so Lincoln, Nebraska, 683 CPMs. Tucson, Arizona, 676 CPMs. Little Rock, Arkansas, 640. Pittsburgh, 600 CPMs. Concord, New Hampshire, 572. San Angelo, Texas, 563. San Diego, California, 543. Fort Wayne, Indiana, 531. You don't escape this no matter where you are on the planet, folks. And you would think if you're in the middle of the country, you're not going to get hit hard. Well, excuse me. Fort Wayne is in the middle of the country, and this is 531. And remember when I said anything over, 20 is high. Yeah. All right, Albuquerque, New Mexico is 530. Spokane, Washington, 517. Dallas, Texas, 504. Miami, Florida, 500. Rapid City, South Dakota, 465. St. Paul, Minnesota, 443. Grand Junction, Colorado, 441. Phoenix, Arizona, 427. Aberdeen, South Dakota, 425. Des Moines, Iowa, 425. Kansas City, Kansas, 416. South Valley, New Mexico, 396. Boston, Massachusetts, 366. Atlanta, Georgia, 340. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 338. Los Angeles, California, 332. Chicago, Illinois, 270. Indianapolis, Indiana, 269. New York City, New York, 262. And before you get really excited, remember that these numbers are low, okay? Lubbock, Texas, 241. San Francisco, California, 220. And Normal, Las Vegas, Nevada, 192 CPMs. Well, I guess 192 sounds far less worse than Billings, Montana at 937. But then again, when it's over 20, it doesn't matter. We're all screwed. So make sure you do your cleansing, you take your vitamin D, go check up on those foods that you need to eat. Make sure you get enough vitamins. Try to eat organic and drink clean water. Life in 2015 is a hoot. And cherry juice for the heart if you're having heart problems. So let's talk about marriage licenses. And like I said, how many of you have been married? How many of you are married? How many of you are going to be married? And I think I just covered everybody in those 3 sentences. And if you're not somewhere in there, you are so far in denial. Oh, okay, there are really some single, totally bachelor and bachelorettes out there, so forgive me. But for the rest of us that have went down that road, did you know that what you got into when you got a marriage license from the state, that you were actually tricked into signing over your children to the state, which what they consider the fruit of a marriage. So this was written by Virgil Cooper, and I have to say it's pretty profound, and it blew me away, and I won't ever get married again, at least not through the state. So this was his enlightening conversation with a marriage license bureau. It says, I met one afternoon with the head of the Maricopa County Superior Court Marriage License Bureau in downtown Phoenix. The Marriage License Bureau was headed by a young woman of about age 25. I asked her to explain to me the general and statutory implications of the marriage license. She was very cooperative and called in an assistant, a tall black man who at that time was working on an operations manual for internal department use. She deferred for most technical explanations to her assistant. He walked through the technicalities of the marriage license as it operates in Arizona. He mentioned that marriage licensing is pretty much the same in other states, but there are differences. One significant difference he mentioned was that Arizona is one of 8 Western states that are community property states. The other states are common law states, including Utah, with the exception of Louisiana, which is a Napoleonic code state. He then explained some of the technicalities of the marriage license. He said, first of all, the marriage license is secular. It's a secular contract between the parties, which means you and your soon-to-be husband or your spouse, and the state. The state is the principal party in that secular contract. The husband and wife are second or inferior parties. The secular contract is a 3-way contract between the state as principal and the husband and wife as the other 2 legs of the contract. He said in the traditional sense, a marriage is a covenant between the husband and wife and God. But in the secular contract with the state, reference to God is a dotted line and not officially considered included in the secular contract at all. He said, if the husband and wife wish to include God as a party in their marriage, that is a, quote, dotted line. They will have to add in their own minds, not on paper. The state's marriage license is strictly secular, he said. He said further that what he meant by the relationship to God being a dotted line meant that the state regards any mention of God as irrelevant and meaningless. In his description of the marriage license contract, he related one other dotted line. He said in the traditional religious context, marriage was a covenant between the husband and wife and God, with husband and wife joined as one. This is not the case in the secular realm of the state's marriage license contract. The state is the principal or dominant party. The husband and wife are merely contractually joined as business partners, not in any religious union. Okay, I'm going to read that again. Okay. The state is the principal or dominant party. The husband and wife are merely contractually joined as business partners, not in any religious union. Now, think about that one. They may even be considered, he said, connected to each other by another invisible dotted line. The picture he was trying to paint was that, if you could imagine in your mind, of a triangle with the state at the top of the triangle, and then you've got a solid line extending from the apex, the state down the left side to the husband, and a separate solid line extending down the right side to the wife. A dotted line merely showing that they consider themselves to have entered into a religious union of some sort that's irrelevant to the state. He further mentioned that this religious overtone is recognized by the state by requiring that the marriage must be solemnized either by a state official or by a minister of religion that has been deputized by the state to perform the marriage ceremony and make a return of the signed and executed marriage license to the state. Again, he emphasized that marriage is a strictly secular relationship so far as the state is concerned, and because it is looked upon as a privileged business enterprise, various tax advantages and other political privileges have become attached to the marriage license contract that have nothing at all to do with the marriage as a religious covenant or bond between God and a man and a woman. So you got that, guys? The state looks at your marriage as a privileged business enterprise that they can tax you. By way of reference, if you would like to read a legal treatise on marriage, one of the best is Principles of Community Property by William D. Funiak, Funiak. At the outset, he explains that community property law descends from Roman civil law through the Spanish codes 600 AD, written by the Spanish jurisconsults. In the civil law, the marriage is considered to be a for-profit venture or profit-making venture, even though it may never actually produce a profit in operation. And as the wife goes out to the local market to purchase foodstuffs and other supplies for the marriage household, she is replenishing the stocks of the business. To restate, in the civil law, the marriage is considered to be a business venture. That is for a for-profit business venture. Moreover, as children come into the marriage household, the business venture is considered to have, quote unquote, borne fruit. Now back to the explanation by the Maricopa County Superior Court Marriage Bureau's administrative assistant. He went on to explain that every contract must have consideration. The state offers consideration in the form of the actual license itself, the piece of paper, the certificate of marriage. The other part of consideration by the state is the privilege to be regulated by statute. He added that this privilege to be regulated by statute includes all related statutes, and all court cases as they are ruled on by the courts, and all statutes and regulations into the future, even in the years following the commencement of the marriage. He said, in a way, the marriage license contract is a dynamic or flexible, ever-changing contract as time goes along. Even if the husband and wife didn't realize that. Does this just give you warm fuzzies? The state looks at your marriage as a strictly business venture, and your kids a ward of the state, because that's the fruits of your labor, of your business venture. Now, he goes on to say his thought on this: can it really be considered a true contract as one becomes aware of the failure by the state to make full disclosure of the terms and conditions? A contract must be entered into knowingly, intelligently, intentionally, and with fully formed consent. Otherwise, technically, there is no contract. Another way to look at it as the marriage license contract with the state is as a contract of adhesion, a contract between two desperate, unequal parties, and again, a flawed contract. Such a contract with the state is said to be a specific performance contract as to the privileges, duties, and responsibilities that attach. Consideration on the part of the husband and wife is the actual fee paid and the implied agreement to be subject to the state's statutes, rules, and regulations. And all court cases ruled on related to marriage law, family law, children, and property. He emphasized that this contractual consideration by the bride and groom places them in a definite and defined by law position, inferior and subject to the state. He commented that very few people realize this. Now, really, how many of you realize that? That your marriage license is a contract and the state owns you and your kids. He also said that's very important to understand that children born to the marriage are considered by law as, quote, the contract bearing fruit, unquote, meaning the children primarily belong to the state, even though the law never comes out and says so in so many words. In this respect, children born to the contract regarded as the contract bearing fruit. He said it is vitally important for parents to understand two doctrines that become established in the United States during the 1930s. The first is the doctrine of parens patriae. The second is the doctrine of in loco parentis. Parens patriae, R-E-N-S, P-A-T-R-I-A-E, means literally the parent of the country. Or to state it more bluntly, the state is the undisclosed true parent. Along this line, in 1930s, Arizona Supreme Court case states that parents have no property rights in their children. Custody of their children during good behavior at the sufferance of the state. This means that parents may raise their children and maintain custody of their children as long as they don't offend the state. But if they in some manner displease the state, The state can step in at any time and exercise its superior status and take custody and control of its children. The parents are only conditional caretakers. Thus, the doctrine of in loco parentis. Now, does that give you warm fuzzies yet? He also added a few more technical details. The marriage license is an ongoing contractual relationship with the state technically. The marriage license is a business license, allowing the husband and wife in the name of the marriage to enter into contracts with third parties and contract mortgages and debts. They can now get car loans. Golly. Home mortgages and installment debts in the name of the marriage, because it's not only a secular enterprise, but it's looked upon by the state as a privileged business enterprise, as well as a for-profit business enterprise. The marriage contract acquires property throughout its existence, and over time, it is hoped increases its value. Also, the marriage contract bears fruit by adding children. If sometimes later the marriage fails and a divorce results, the contract continues in existence. Does that give you chills? All you divorced people out there thought it was over? The divorce is merely a contractual dissolution or amendment of the terms and conditions of the contract. Jurisdiction of the state over the marriage, over the husband and wife, now separated, continues over all aspects of the marriage, over marital property, and over children brought into the marriage. That's why family law and the domestic relations court calls divorce a dissolution of the marriage, because the contract continues in operation, but in amended or modified form. Ooh. He also pointed out that the marriage license contract is one of the strongest, most binding contractual relationship the state has on people. I'm going to say that one more time. He pointed out that the marriage license contract is one of the strongest, most binding contractual relationships the state has on people. At the end of the hour-long meeting, this man humorously asked if other people had come in and asked the questions he was asking. And the assistant replied that in the several years he had worked there, he was not aware of anyone else asking these questions. He added that he was very glad to see someone interested in the legal implications of a marriage license and the contractual relationship it creates with the state. His boss, the young woman, Marriage Bureau Department, had stated, "You have to understand that people who come in here to get a marriage license are in heat. The last thing they want to know is technical, legal, and statutory implications of the marriage license." I mean, really, how many of you guys, even thought any of this existed, or this could be the actual meaning of your marriage contract with the state, or the state thinks of your marriage as a business and that your children are theirs? So, I hope this is going to help you a little bit. And just want to let you know the marriage license as we know it didn't come into existence until after the Civil War and didn't become standard practice in all the states until after 1900 and became firmly established in 1920. In effect, the states and governments appropriated or usurped control of marriages in secular form and in the process declared common law applicable to marriages abrogated. So, and again, essentially the husband and wife became married to the state, and anything the two produced became the property and control of the state. Now, again, such contracts can be considered void due to non-full disclosure or can be terminated when full disclosure is realized. And again, I don't have all the answers to this, guys. I'm just giving you information tonight. And what you do with this is totally up to you. But, there is an alternative. Don't apply for a marriage license. You can make a certificate of matrimony and have it signed by 2 or more witnesses, okay? And then you record the marriage or any children from the marriage in a family Bible that you're going to have or whatever you use. So if you have a license, terminate the contract with the state based on not having full disclosure at the time of signing. Okay? So I hope that helps. And I'm telling you, I'm not getting married again. No way. And I'm going to look into everything I can to dissolve that contract I have with the state and free and clear my kids. Oh, my God. And as I find out information, trust me, I will be more than happy to share it with you all, who I know will share it with others. Sharing is caring. So let's jump real quick to birth certificates. Now, did you know that your birth certificate was made into a bond and it's literally worth billions? Now, I read this quote and I love it, okay? Now, listen. And after I just read to you what I read to you, if this doesn't make sense, I don't know what will. A truth's initial commotion is directly proportional to how deeply the lie was believed. It wasn't the world being round that agitated people, but that the world wasn't flat. When a well-packaged web of lies has been sold gradually to the masses over generations, the truth will seem utterly preposterous and its speaker a raving lunatic. And that was Dresden James who quoted that. God, I hope y'all don't think I'm a raving lunatic. Unless you're government troll, then you can think of me as a lunatic. Well, no, cancel clear that. I don't want to go into any government lunatic programs. I am sane. Well, as far as your birth certificate, when the United States declared bankruptcy and they pledged all Americans as collateral against the national debt and confiscated all gold, which they did, eliminating the means by which you could pay. It also assumed legal responsibility for providing a new way for you to pay. And it did that providing what is known as the exemption. An exemption from having to pay for anything in practical terms, though this meant giving each American something to pay. Something is your credit, your value to society was then and still is calculated using actuarial tables, and at birth, bonds equal to this average value are created. And I understand that this is currently between $1 and $2 million. These bonds are collateralized by your birth certificate, which becomes a negotiable instrument. The bonds are hypothecated, traded until their value is unlimited for all intents and purposes, and all that credit created is technically and rightfully yours. In point of fact, you should be able to go into any store in America and buy anything and everything, telling the clerk to charge it to your exemption account, which is identified by a 9-digit number that you will recognize as your Social Security number without the dashes. It is your EIN, which stands for Exemption Identification Number. You know, again, we are being taken, and talk about energy harvesting. Now, the birth certificate was created as a fiction. Now, you got to imagine, you know, if you got your birth certificate, you probably look at it, the name of the baby in uppercase letters, and the state province sells the birth certificate to the Commerce Operations of USA, which in turn places a bond on the birth certificate, thereby making it a negotiable instrument and placing the fiction called a straw man into the warehouse of the corporations of USA, which is representation for the creative fiction that was given to the bar, owned and operated by the Crown for the purpose of contracting the fiction, which most of us think is ourselves, into a third-party action. And don't underestimate the power behind this trick. It is to con us into contracting with the feds so that they can legally confiscate our property. All these contracts have all our signature on them because corporate fictitious cannot contract. Only natural beings can have the right to contract and the right not to contract. Because there is no full disclosure, we are never told that we have just signed away what we to be our property. These contracts are fraudulent, and hence we're still the lawful owner, and the profit earned by those feds from selling property belongs to us. The feds had to create a remedy for us and hope we wouldn't discover it. And that's the birth certificate. Now, the best example of the effects of registration is the birth certificate. A bankrupt entity, city, state, province, country, cannot operate in commerce. So how do they manage, since USA has been bankrupt for decades, having no substance such as gold or silver to back it? The only asset it has are men and women and our labor. We are now collateral for the interest on the loan of the World Bank. Each of us is registered via the application for our birth certificate. Boy, aren't we idiots. The Treasury issues a bond on the birth certificate, and the bond is sold at a securities exchange and bought by the Federal Reserve Bank, which then uses it as collateral to issue banknotes. The bond is held in trust for the feds at the Depository Trust Corporation. We are the surety on said bonds. Our labor energy is then payable, hopefully at some future date. I mean, we become the transmitting utility for the transmission of energy. The United States government, in order to provide necessary goods and services, created a commercial bond promissory note by pledging the property, labor, life, and body of its citizens as payment for debt, their bankruptcy. I mean, how screwed up is that? This commercial bond made chattel, property out of us all. We became nothing more than human resources and collateral for the dead. This was without our knowledge and our consent by the filing registration of our birth certificates. I mean, when moms apply for birth certificate, the application title of her baby is then transferred from mom to state. Mom is left with equitable title of her baby, whom she can use for a fee, a use tax. And since the property does not belong to her, she has to treat it in the manner which the owner, if not, the state takes your baby back. Well, again, I don't have answers for this. So, and we're going on to the break. So I hope you think about what I've just said, and we're going to get back and talk about the Jesuits. Woo-hoo! Well, aloha, everybody. Welcome back. This is Cathy Bilsky, the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show. I know if I come on to it too early, that just keeps going on and on and on. This is Revolution Radio, and you know, everything on this station is listener supported. So we really appreciate all the donations that you send in, and please keep sending them in. All you have to do is go to Revolution Radio's website and look up their donation button and either hit that. And they've also got some really nice products. So you can buy some our old shows, which is nice to have for you, and it's mutually beneficial arrangement. You get something lovely and we get to stay on air. So, you know, every little bit helps. And if you are stuck with your money and you're not moving forward, the best way I know to unstuck is by giving a donation. And that creates space, and what goes around comes back. And that creates space for Spirit to send you something lovely and to get that energy flowing again. And if you want to learn more about me, you can check me out on my website at www.angelliteom.com. It's ANGELITEOM.com, where I have some awesome healing tools that glow in the dark made out of angelite and crystals. My curse removal energy balancing is on the website. And if you look under healing, free healing, you can download it for free. And, you know, this way I call it the maintenance program. Soul retrievals, I'm all over YouTube, and you can look under Google Plus or just YouTube, Cathy Bilsky. You need a soul retrieval? I've got a program where I've done back-to-back soul retrievals, so you'll have major movement. Just be careful with the work. That's all I ask. And if you want to become a friend on Facebook, I welcome you, because I put a lot of my power prayers. You know, my energy work doesn't stop after the show. You know, it's 24/7 almost. And I put a lot of power prayers. We're always constantly doing something on Facebook. So if you do want to become my friend on Facebook, please mention this show. Make sure you've got a picture of you, because I do not make friends with people who don't show themselves. Ain't going to happen. And your name's got to match your gender. Okay? If it doesn't, if you got a picture of girls and it says, he is blah, 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 ain't happening, guys. You know, you got to be consistent. So if you're a troll, and if you're in a military outfit, I'm telling you now, not going to happen. So other than that, I will more than happy befriend you. My stuff is pretty much public. You know, there's all kinds of light work out there. And I've written a couple books. You know, I've got a lot of my energy work in the book, so you don't have to be hopeless. And things that are going on, you can get one of the power prayers and do it. Put that good energy out. Redirect what's going on in the planet. Don't be helpless. It is not darkness's time. It is light's time. Speaking of darkness, I wanted to share with you something that I really don't think people have a clue about, and you definitely don't hear much about it, and that's talking a little bit about the Jesuits. And, the Jesuits are connected to the Catholic Church, and the Pope was the Jesuit Pope. They called him the Black Pope. And once you're the Black Pope, you're it for life. So I think he's the first Pope, that's the first Pope, that's the Black Pope, and the White Pope together. But don't let, whatever warm and fuzzy things he's trying to bring out now change what they are. If the church doesn't look good at this point, no, everybody's going to run away from them, why they don't now, I don't understand. I mean, any man that's going to dress up in woman's outfit, which is what the priests do, and you think about it, it's like they're trying to be held in that the male is in the mother's womb by wearing that dress. There's so many symbolisms in the church, but I wanted to share with you the extreme oath of the Jesuits. And again, the Jesuits have been around since the 1800s, and it was put here, it was created to be like the military of the Catholic Church, to get the Catholic Church forward. And so the Catholic Church can conquer the world. Cancel clear. So while I'm reading this to you, I don't want to give it energy, and I want you to mentally, just while I'm saying this, just go cancel clear, okay? We want to cancel clear all their manifestations, past, present, and future. Now, this Jesuit oath, I didn't make up, okay? I mean, I'd have to be really out of my mind to make up this crap. But the Jesuit oath of induction is also recorded in the Congressional Record of the USA, House Bill number 1523. Contested election case of Eugene C. Bonnewell against Thomas S. Butler, February 15, 1913. Pages 3,215 to 3,216. It can also be found in the book entitled Subterranean Rome by Charles Didier, translated from the French and published in book in New York in 1843. Like I said, this stuff's been around. So the article that I'm going to share with you was taken from the book, from the Subterranean Rome by Charles Didier, translated from the French, again, published in New York in 1843 by Dr. Alberto Riviera, who escaped from the Jesuit order in 1967. And he describes his Jesuit oath in exactly the same way as it appears in the book. And after reading this, you're going to ask yourself the question, is this really the Church of Jesus Christ? When a Jesuit of the minor rank is to be elevated to command, he is conducted into the chapel of the convent of the order, where there are only 3 others present. The principal or superior standing in front of the altar. On either side stands a monk, one whom holds a banner of yellow and white, which are the papal colors, and the other a black banner with a dagger and red cross above in skull and crossbones, and the word INRI. And below them, the words Eustum, Nicar Regis Impius. God, I don't do Latin well, okay? The meaning of which is, it is just to exterminate or annihilate impious or heretical kings, governments, or rulers. Upon the floor is a red cross at which the postulant or candidate kneels. The superior hands him a small black crucifix, which he takes in his left hand and presses to his heart. And the superior at the same time presents to him a dagger, which he grasps by the blade and holds the point against his heart. The superior still holding it by the hilt, and thus addresses the postulant. Okay, so here we go, guys. Listen up. This is what the oath. So the superior speaks. My son, heretofore you have been taught to act the dissembler among Roman Catholics, to be a Roman Catholic, and to be a spy even among your own brethren, to believe no man, to trust no man. Among the reformers, to be a reformer. Among the Huguenots, to be a Huguenot. Among the Calvinists, to be a Calvinist. Among other Protestants, generally to be a Protestant, and obtaining their confidence, to seek even to preach from their pulpits, and to denounce with all the vehemence in your nature our holy religion and the Pope, and even to descend so low as to become a Jew among Jews, that you might be enabled to gather together all information for the benefit of your order as a faithful soldier of the Pope. You have been taught to insidiously plant the seeds of jealousy and hatred between communities, provinces, states that were at peace, and incite them to deeds of blood, involving them in war with each other, and to create revolutions and civil wars in countries that were independent and prosperous, cultivating the arts and sciences and enjoying the blessings of peace. To take sides with the combatants and to act secretly with your brother Jesuit, who might be engaged on the other side, but openly opposed to that which you might be connected, only that the church might be the gainer in the end, in the conditions fixed in the treaties for peace, and at the end, and that in the end justifies the means. You have been taught your duty as a spy to gather all statistics, facts, and information in your power from every source, to ingratiate yourself into the confidence of the family circle of Protestants and heretics of every class and character, as well as that of the merchant, the banker, the lawyer, among the schools and universities, in parliaments and legislatures, and the judiciaries and councils of state, and to be all things to all men, for the Pope's sake, whose servants we are unto death. Cancel, clear, cancel, clear, cancel, clear. Now, that's me, not him. Okay. He goes on to say, you have received all your instructions heretofore as a novice, a neophyte, and have served as coadjutor, confessor, and priest, but you have not yet been invested with all that is necessary to command in the army of Loyola in the service of the Pope. You must serve the proper time as the instrument and executioner, as directed by your superiors, for none can command here who has not consecrated his labors with the blood of the heretic. For without the shedding of blood, no man can be saved. Therefore, to fit yourself for your work and make your own salvation sure, you will, in addition to your former oath of obedience to your order and allegiance to the Pope, repeat after me. Now remember, this is the extreme oath of the Jesuits, and the current Pope is a Jesuit. He took this oath, folks. All right, now, the extreme oath of the Jesuits. I, blah, blah, Now in the presence of Almighty God, the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Blessed Michael the Archangel, the Blessed Saint John the Baptist, the Holy Apostles, Saint Peter and Saint Paul, and all the saints and sacred hosts of heaven, and to you, my ghostly Father, the Superior General of the Society of Jesus, founded by Saint Ignatius Loyola in the pontification of Paul III, and continue to the present, do by the womb of the Virgin, the matrix of God and the rod of Jesus Christ, declare and swear that His Holiness the Pope is Christ's vice regent and is the true and only head of the Catholic or universal church throughout the earth, and that by virtue of the keys of binding and loosing given to His Holiness by my Savior Jesus Christ, He hath power to dispose heretical kings, princesses, states, commonwealths, and governments. I hope you're cancel clearing all this. All being illegal without His sacred confirmation, and that they may be safely be destroyed. Therefore, to the utmost of my power, I shall and will defend His doctrine of His holiness, right, and custom against all usurpers of the heretical or Protestant authority, whatever, especially the Lutheran of Germany, Holland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and the now pretended authority of churches of England and Scotland, and branches of the same now established in Ireland, and on the continent of America and elsewhere, and all adherents in regard that they be usurped and heretical, opposing the sacred Mother Church of Rome. I do now renounce and disown any allegiance as due to any heretical king, prince, or state, named Protestants or liberals, or obedience to any of the laws, magistrates, or officers. Do you get that? They renounce everything, any allegiance to any king, prince, the state, America, whatever. I do further declare that the doctrine of the churches of England and Scotland, of the Calvinists, Huguenots, and others of the name Protestants or liberals, to be damnable, and they themselves damned who will not forsake the same. Cancel clearing out that one, guys. I do further declare that I will help, assist, and advise all or any of His Holiness agents in any place wherever I shall be, in Switzerland, Germany, Holland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, England, Ireland, or America, or in any other kingdom or territory I shall come to, and do my uttermost to extirpate the heretical Protestants and or liberals' doctrines, and to destroy all their pretended powers, regal and otherwise. Remember, the Pope is a Jesuit. He took this oath. It further goes on to say, I do further promise and declare that notwithstanding I am dispensed with to assume my religion heretical for the propaganda of the Mother Church's interest, to keep secret, all private, all her agents' counsels from time to time, as they may entrust me, and not to divulge directly or indirectly by word, writing, or circumstance whatever, but to execute all that shall be proposed, given in charge, or discovered unto me by you, my ghostly Father, or any of His sacred covenant. I do further promise and declare that I will have no opinion or will of my own, or any mental reservation whatever, even as a corpse or a cadaver, parende, ac cadaver, but will unhesitatingly obey each and every command that I may receive from my superiors in the militia of the Pope and of Jesus Christ. Boy, is JC getting a bad rap on this one, huh? And cancel clear everything that they just said. It goes on to say that I may go to any part of the world, wherever I may be sent, to the frozen regions of the north, the burning sands of the desert of Africa or the jungles of India to the centers of civilization of Europe, or to the wild haunts and the barbarous savages of America. Boy, are we getting a bad rap. Without murmuring or repining, they're not going to be a wimp no matter where they go, and will be submissive in all things whatsoever communicated to me. Kind of sounds like our military, huh? Oops, this is the Jesuits. I furthermore promise and declare that I will, when opportunity present, make and wage relentless war, secretly or openly, against all heretics, Protestants and liberals, as I am directed to do, to extirpate and exterminate them from the face of the whole earth, and that I will spare neither age, sex, or condition, and that I will hang, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive these infamous heretics, rip up their stomach and wombs of their women, and crush their infants' heads against the walls in order to annihilate forever their race. That when the same cannot be done openly, I will secretly use the poison cup, the strangulating cord, the steel of the poniard, or the leaden bullet, regardless of the honor, rank, dignity, or authority of the person or persons, whatever may be their condition, in either life, in either public or private, as I at any time may be directed to do so by any agent of the Pope or Superior, of the Brotherhood of the Holy Faith, of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. In confirmation of which I hereby dedicate my life, my soul, and all my corporal powers. And with this dagger which I now receive, I will subscribe my name written in my own blood, in testimony thereof. And should I prove false or weaken in my determination, may my brethren and fellow soldiers of the militia of the Pope cut off my hands, my feet, and my throat from ear to ear, my belly opened, and sulfur burned therein with all the punishment that can be inflicted upon me on earth, and my soul be tortured by demons in an eternal hell forever. Can't so clear that, but boy, those guys were smoking some really good crack, you know? What that good shit, because I mean, wow, they had to give this really good thought and go into depth, right? Okay, sorry. I continue. All of which I do swear by the Blessed Trinity and all blessed sacraments which I am now to receive, to perform, and on my part to keep inviolable. And I do call on the heavenly and glorious hosts of heaven to witness the blessed sacrament of the Eucharist, and witness the same further with my name written with this point of this dagger dipped in my own blood and sealed in the face of this holy covenant. He receives the wafer from the superior and writes his name with the point of his dagger dipped in his own blood, taken from over his heart. So the superior speaks. You will now rise to your feet. I will instruct you in the catechism necessary to make yourself known to any member of the Society of Jesus belonging to this rank. In the first place, you, as a brother Jesuit, will with another mutually make the ordinary sign of the cross as an ordinary Roman Catholic would. Then one across his wrists, the palm of his hands open, and the other, in answer, crosses his feet, one above the other. The first points with forefinger of the right hand to the center of the palm of the left. The other with the forefinger of the left hand points to the center of the palm on the right. The The first then with his right hand makes a circle around his head, touching it. The other then with the forefinger of his left hand touches the left side of his body just below his heart. The first then with his right hand. Oh my God, can they make this any more friggin' difficult? I mean, you got to remember all this crap. I would be so lost at the first, cross, right? I could get that and then it would be over. Okay. There's more. Okay. So hand draws it across the throat of the other, and then the latter then with the dagger down the stomach and the abdomen of the first. The first then says lustum, and the other answers nikar, the first regis. The other answers impious, the meaning of which has already been explained. The first will then present a small piece of paper folded in a peculiar manner 4 times, which the other will cut longitudinally, and on opening the name Jesuit will be found written above the head and arms of a cross 3 times. You will then give and receive with him the following answers and questions. Holy crap! I mean, I would love to see a pair of Jesuits get together and do this. I mean, please, somebody videotape this. Okay, so now here comes the questions and answers. Whom do you serve? The Holy Father in Rome, the Pope, and the Roman Catholic Church, universal throughout the world. Question, who commands you? Answer, the successor of St. Ignatius Loyola, the founder of Society of Jesus and Soldiers of Jesus Christ. Question, who received you? Answer, a venerable man in white hair. Question, how? Answered, with a naked dagger, I kneeling upon the cross beneath the banners of the Pope and of our sacred order. Question, did you take the oath? Answer, I did, to destroy heretics and their governments and rulers, and to spare neither age, sex, nor condition, to be as a corpse without any opinion or will of my own, but to implicitly obey my superiors in all things without hesitation or murmuring. I guess you don't get to bitch when you're in the Jesuits, right? Okay, question, will you do that? Answer, I will. Not. Question, how do you travel? Answer, in the bark of Peter the fisherman. Question, whither do you travel? Answer, to the 4 quarters of the globe. Question, for what purpose? Answer, to obey the orders of my general and superiors and execute the will of the Pope and faithfully fulfill the conditions of my oath. Question, go ye then into all the world and take possession of all lands in the name of the Pope. He who will not accept him as vicar of Jesus and his vice-regents on earth, let him be accursed and exterminated. Cancel clear, cancel clear, cancel clear. Now that is the extreme oath of the Jesuits. Does that give you warm fuzzies? They literally take an oath to rape, pillage, plunder, lie, cheat, and steal, do whatever they have to do to get information, to use and abuse it, take the Catholic Church forward. Ooh, does this not take us to the power prayer that we're going to say right now, because they really earned it, right? And now this is going to the Pope, black and white, which means the head Pope, because he was Jewish and still is a Jesuit, and the hierarchy of the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, here we go. So I want you all to give this energy. Put your feet flat on the floor. Imagine that energy running through you, through your hands, forming this huge bubble of light, which we're going to put this power prayer. We're going to cut the Catholic Church and the Pope from its satanic hold on the planet. To the Pope and the hierarchy of the Roman Catholic Church, you're fired. This is to the Pope, the black and white Pope, the Alumbrados, the Jesuits, Opus Dei, the Illuminati, all your organizations that work with you support you all the way down to the simple layperson, the janitor. God, the Creator, is putting you on notice that all your works are now going to crumble and dissolve to dust. You do not own anything on this planet, nothing. We release, cancel, clear, and dissolve all from your black magic you have woven with Satan to keep this planet and all life forms in slavery. We call to Michael the Archangel to take his sword of blue flame and cut ties to all your magic, including all skins that is written on, no matter where you keep it hidden. Nothing can hide from God, so be afraid, be very afraid. As ties to all your magic is cut from you, and pacts you made with Satan, we call the violet flame to clean up all your dark energy, and then we send the angel light energy to heal it, fill it up with the Creator's divine love. We command the skins and parchments to now be neutral, only emitting love. I call upon the fire elemental to blaze and burn in all your vaults and everywhere you keep these skins and parchments of magic. Let the flame do the final cleansing. I now see all your vaults in flame and burning till all skins and parchments are in ashes. All trusts are hereby dissolved through the sacred trust that God has with humans to set us free. We cut all black magic, satanic ties and binds you have placed on all life forms, souls, the planet Earth, going back to the time of Pope Boniface and any papables he created, cutting ties to any express trust called unum sanctum that claims the Pope owns all souls. The ties and binds to this energy and all souls are now cut free from your bondage. You own no one. The people of this planet all have their very own direct link to God, the Creator, thus in charge of all dominion on the planet. You do not own the world, humans, nor any souls on the planet or anywhere. We can imagine our own sacred trust with the Creator ourselves. You're fired. We now reconnect all these souls to the Creator, helping them become awakened, conscious, spiritual beings. We cut the ties to all of Pope Nicholas V in 1435 and the trust he set up, claiming all real estate is his, then binding that in magic. We again cut the ties with this trust, call the violet flame to clean it up, the angel light energy to heal, then we reconnect it to God. Now we command it to be neutral, to only emit love. We call forth the fire elemental to burn this magic and all it is written on to ashes. This trust is hereby dissolved by the light of God, the Creator, and everything that is holy. We cut the ties to Pope VI and the trust that he made, making people slaves. We again cut the ties to this magic and the bonding of it with Satan. We call the violet flame through it to clean up the energy, angel light to heal. Then we reconnect to the Creator, commanding it to be neutral. We again call to the fire elemental to blaze through this magic till it's cleansed by fire to ashes and dust. I see the storage vaults in physical flame now. We now see all veils and overlays over all souls being removed, allowing everyone to reconnect to their higher selves, becoming awakened spiritual beings, fully aware of their divine missions and purposes. We cut all ties with the trust called Se Sui Quivi, claiming all souls to Satan and the Catholic Church. As these ties are cut, we call the violet flame to clean it up, the angel light energy to heal, fill it up with the Creator's love. Now we command it to be neutral, to only emit love. I call the fire elemental to burn the skin it's written on till ashes. See all souls being set free again, becoming awakened spiritual beings. We cut all ties and magical contracts the Roman Vatican Church Empire had with Hitler. All concordats are now dissolved by the violet flame, healed in angel light, and reconnected to the Creator, now becoming neutral or only emitting love. The energy of the First through the Fourth Reich is now dissolved. We call to the higher selves of all popes, black and white, past, present, future, all Nazis, all Alumbrados, Jesuits, Opus Dei, Illuminati, and all fraternal organizations connected to the Roman Catholic Church to step forward in the light of God and renounce Satan. All lies, deceptions, and wars you create. If you choose not to, which is your free will, I call to your higher self and guardian angels to put you all in positions of harmlessness now. We remove all veils, overlays you have placed on each other, cut the oaths you have taken together, binding you each other, now removed. For those who choose to stay with Satan, again, your free will, we place you all in a bubble of mirror, the mirror facing you, so any dark energy you try and send out will stay contained. We add the violet flame to cleanse this energy so it does not gain any strength. This bubble of mirror will stay up 24/7, 365 days a year from here through eternity. It will dissolve when you choose to work in the light of the Creator and not Satan. Until then, this bubble keeps you powerless. Let all veils and overlays of magical protection be removed as the Goddess of Truth brings everything that you're trying to hide up to the surface in a way the masses must see it and are given the divine inspiration on how to correct what you've done. The Goddess of Justice is after you now. I call for your karmic return for all your works, which shall be amplified 100,000-fold if it's for your highest good. And if it's for your highest good, I step aside as it's returned to you now. As your magic is dissolved and neutralized, all life forms can now reconnect to the Creator, becoming awakened, enlightened, joyful beings, quantum leaping us far into the golden age of divine enlightenment. So be it. So fill that bubble up with light and love and take a deep breath. Release it so it goes out in the world to manifest. Whew. Yeah, just remember that Jesuit oath that was taken. Our Pope, I'm going to say our Pope, the current Pope, was the head of that order, guys. So you going to trust anything he says? Good luck. Let me know how well that works for you. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep cancel clearing out all the magic that they're doing. And thank you so much for giving that energy. I think we have time quickly to do a really quick energy balancing if you all want to partake in that. So again, put your feet flat on the floor, put your hands up and your hands in your lap, flat up, palms up, spine straight up. And I want you to start breathing deeply, but not so you hyperventilate on me. And as you exhale, release anything that no longer serves you. And as you're doing that, you're going to breathe in light, exhale out everything that no longer serves you. Imagine that energy going through the violet flame back to God, and you start filling up with your divine essence. And as you're doing that, I surround each and every one of you in a bubble of golden flame. I add to that the blue flame of protection, the violet flame of transmutation, the green flame of healing, and I seal you in the pink flame of love. So what I want you to do is imagine this incredible divine healing energy coming down from God, coming into your crown chakra. And as it flows through your brain, it reconnects you to the Creator and allows you to become an awakened spiritual being, unlimited, filled with all this unlimited potential. So let that high energy flow out your third eye, which is the middle of your forehead. Feel that energy flow down even farther and let it come out your throat chakra. And now let that energy flow down even farther and let it flow out of your heart chakra. And now your solar plexus. And now let that energy come out of your belly button. Feel it out of your sacral. Let it flow out of your root chakra. And imagine that energy flowing all the way down your legs and out your feet, down your arms and out your hands and down your spine. So take one more deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine any energy that's left in your body being gently released as you exhale that no longer serves you. And then breathe normal. And as you're doing that, I call on Michael the Archangel to come forth and cut all ties to any energy you've taken on that's not yours, whether it's from a friend, relative, acquaintance, stranger, anybody you work with, TV set, animal, whatever the karmic reason that created anything out of balance in your life or your body today. And as all that unwanted energy is peeled off of you gently like an onion skin, it all goes through the violet flame back to God, and you fill up with your divine essence. And now I want Michael to come forth, cut all ties to reptile, dinosaur energy, secret societies, organized religion. Cut all ties to any oaths, vows, curses, hexes, rituals that could have been done to you or your family, going backwards and forwards, hundreds of thousands of generations, or anything you could have done consciously or unconsciously. And as all that unwanted energy too is peeled off of you gently like an onion skin, it all goes through the violet flame back to God, and you fill up with more of your divine essence. And now I want Michael to come forth, cut all ties to any effigies that have been misused against you. And that's any elemental of yours who was used to hurt you or anyone, including anything you own, clothes, hair, picture, your name spoken, written, just thought of, or anything you have your energy on. And as ties to all those elementals are cut, I call the violet flame through them to clean it up, the angel light energy to heal. We release all that unwanted energy back to God, and you fill up with more of your divine essence. And now I want Michael to come forth, cut all ties to patriarch, cut all ties to any energy implants that could have been done to you or anything that could have carried over from any other lifetime because of dark magic, voodoo, or dark witchcraft. So I want the stick, pin, needle, or knife that's in your crown chakra removed from your third eye, your throat, heart, solar plexus, belly button, root, feet, hands, spine, your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, hips, teeth, anywhere in your body that's out of balance. And as you feel all those pins, needles, and knives being very gently removed, imagine all those spaces immediately fill up with the violet flame to clean it up, the angel light energy to heal. We release all that unwanted energy back to God, and you fill up with more of your divine essence. And now I want Michael to come forth, cut all ties to patriarchy, genocide, rape, incest, slavery, prostitution, persecution, circumcision, removing any energy overlay that's trying to manipulate you, keeping you from connecting with God, healing yourself, being really successful, fulfilling all your divine missions and living your life in joy. And as all that unwanted energy is gently released, it's keeping all these wonderful things from coming to you. And we also send it through the violet flame back to God, and you fill up with more of your divine essence. So if there's anybody out there that's doing any kind of dark energy or magic, I'm going to ask them to step forward in the light. And if they choose not to, which is their free will, I'm going to ask their higher self and guardian angels to put them in a position of harmlessness. We surround them in a bubble of mirror. The mirror faces them 2 inches from their nose, and as long as they keep doing that work, that mirror stays up 24/7, 365 days a year. But we also put in the violet flame to burn off any energy so they have no forward movement. I call to your higher self, and I ask your higher self to activate your divine blueprint for perfect health, and it's put into activation now. And if it's in activation, it's amplified. Now, I want you to allow all this energy to integrate in a very gentle, kind, loving way with your cells, your atoms, your molecules, all your internal organs, going all the way down into your DNA. And with every breath, feel more of yourself becoming very centered. And now I want you to ground, so feel that earth energy coming up from the bottom of your feet. It's very heavy. And as it comes up your legs, it's going to make your legs heavy, feel like lead. And you're going to feel yourself now pull in body. You're going to be very clear-headed, very calm, very centered. And with every breath, more of this grounding energy is coming up, and you're becoming even more centered and very grounded. Now, if you're still lightheaded after the show, if you've got hematite, the stone hematite, please go grab it. And if you don't have it, I highly advise you buying some, especially if you're going to keep listening to my show, which is a very high energy show, and you're going to get high. I know all the pot smokers are going, oh. Yep, you can come to my show and get stoned on energy. But you need to ground after the show. It's very important. You can't be spacey. And if you're still high after the hematite, or if you don't have it, go find a tree. It's still summer. Put your hands on the tree. Send that tree all your excess energy. Do it for 30 seconds, a minute if you feel wild and crazy. And then ask the tree to send you energy back so you can ground. And boom, you immediately ground. And it's great for anger too. I get angry and anybody go, hug a tree. Let the tree take that energy. And, you're having a mutually beneficial something with the tree. So it's important that you ground. I can't leave you in this really altered state because it's my karma if you fall and have an accident. So I'm trying to help be karma free. So I hope all this really helped you today. And like I said, it gives you new knowledge. And you can go look up this stuff online and check it out. Check out about your marriage license. How do you dissolve it? How do you get your kids back away from the state so the state doesn't own them? Check out the birth certificate. And like I said, I am definitely going to learn more about this. And I will share with you if I find something that I think would be really warm and fuzzy and awesome to do, then I will. Sharing is caring. Give it to you. So in the meantime, try to keep your focus on the light. And I have noticed people getting nicer than I've met. And that's just because I'm in Hawaii, okay? People may be touching, and I don't mean intimately, maybe on the hand or the arm, and smiling and being kind and considerate. Happy, that's nice. And I see people happy, huh? And if someone isn't, give them a smile. Smiles cost nothing. And again, if you like what I did, share my show with other people. The more people that do the energy work, wow, the more we are going to quantum leap into the golden age of enlightenment, which again, that's where we're supposed to be. That is our destiny and where I see us headed. And like I said, guys, what are you going to do? What's the alternative to enlightenment? Armageddon. Cancel clear that one. I'm not here for Armageddon, are you? I want to live on an enlightened planet. I mean, my God, what fun that will be. Cleanup's going to be a bitch, but hey, I'm willing to do it. Oh, okay. So in 2 weeks, I am going to have what I call a woman's show. And I'm titling it Sex Around 60 or 55 or over 60. It's something that I don't think women really get together and talk about their experiences or how men affects us at this age and how we affect them. And so it's going to be a woman show. And man, if you want to listen, you might learn something, but nobody's going to give their name. It's all going to accept me because I have the show. So, but it's going to be about sex over 55. So it should be fun. It'll be a woman's night. And in the meantime, again, I can't say enough to work with the energy of love. And your kids, look in your family who's angry, who's ornery, and may need that little extra dose of energy. Reconnect them to the Creator. How do you do that? Call divine energy down. See a baby cry? I go divine peace, divine calm, divine sleep. Descend down around you now. As long as you put the word divine in it, you're calling down that aspect of God, and you're helping them raise their energy and shift. And when you are at one with the Creator, you're usually pretty peaceful. It's when you're not, you're disconnected. Then creatures can get to you. Then lower entities can get to you. And you get angry, you get irritable because it's the energy you don't like. Doesn't make you feel comfortable, so you react from it, or people react. So when you call down that aspect of God, which is what they need, you're raising their energy and vibration and reconnecting them to the Creator. And life is good, huh? Because then they don't act so crappy. And they change and they shift their attitude. And you just have done this divine service by helping that person change their attitude. And you've stopped sending darkness some energy. Wow! Isn't that almost orgasmic? I don't know, I guess it depends who you're with. So work with that energy of love and play with it. You know, use the violet flame. The violet flame transmutes energy and erases cause, effect, record, memory of karma. It changes, transmutes dark to light. I call the violet flame, and all I say is I am a being of violet fire. I am the purity God desires. That's all, and I chant that. It's not difficult. That invokes the violet flame, that burns off any negativity that anybody's sending my way. And then I'll turn around and I'll go, well, I'm not sure where this is coming from, but I'm going to blast them with love. And one time I had somebody that was really directing me some kind of, oh God, a lot of dark magic. And this one day I decided, I'm just going to send them love all day. I'm not going to think of any negative thoughts and blah, blah, blah. Well, they called up that day and asked a friend of mine, what was I doing? Because their crystal ball blew up in their hands. Well, first off, you shouldn't use the crystal in a dark way, and definitely don't direct it at me. But because I use love was so powerful, and that crystal chose not to be misused. So it's self-destructed. Pretty cool, huh? I love stoner stuff. So again, working with love and the energy and the vibration, and I don't mean being a wimp. This is taking this energy and putting it into practical use. Your kids are off. Oh my God, send them some light and love. Raise their energy. Reconnect them to the Creator. Are your kids not motivated? Call down that divine motivation to descend down around them now. Divine motivation, divine right action. I did that for my kids, and they had jobs within a week. So play with the energy. And as I said, as long as you're using divine, and if you really have any doubts about the work that you do or you're doing, always say at the end, not my will, but thy will be done. And that way, you kind of cancel cleared the work. But if I'm going to do the work, I usually will call to the people's higher self and ask for permission and then do it. And if it's not to be done or given to them, the higher self will negate it. So give it a try. Learning you got to do. You just can't listen or read a book. What's the point in reading a book with all these wonderful gifts and knowledge if you don't apply the information? And the more love you put out there and the more you help people shift and reconnect to the Creator, we are going into enlightenment. And we will hit the 100 monkey theory that when a certain pinnacle is reached, everybody just quantums leaps into the enlightenment. Not bad. And on that note, I hope your lives are filled with joy and you're sent a heart's desire. Aloha. We'll catch you next Tuesday.